A wind of change swept across the Kalahari in late 2024. Botswana, a nation long praised for its stability, witnessed a political transformation. Duma Boko, a charismatic and Harvard-educated lawyer, ascended to the presidency. Born in 1969 in Mahalapaye, Boko's journey to the highest office was paved with years of legal practice. His academic credentials, including a Master of Laws from Harvard Law School, set him apart. The election of October 2024 was a political earthquake. Duma Boko, at the helm of the opposition coalition, the Umbrella for Democratic Change, ousted the Botswana Democratic Party, which had governed since independence in 1966. This seismic upset signaled a deep-seated desire for change among the electorate. The transition of power, formalized with his swearing-in during November 2024, was peaceful, yet the undercurrents of radical change were palpable. Voter frustration had simmered for years, with issues of political corruption and the pervasive influence of the diamond multinational, De Beers. President Boko's campaign resonated with a populace yearning for economic revitalization and greater social equity. By April 2025, Duma Boko was named one of Time magazine's 100 most influential people. The early months of Duma Boko's presidency were marked by bold foreign policy overtures. A significant development was his strategic alignment with Captain Ibrahim Traoré, the transitional president of Burkina Faso. Traoré had risen to power through a military coup, espousing a fiercely anti-imperialist and pan-Africanist rhetoric. For Botswana, this alignment signaled a radical departure from its cautious and pro-Western foreign policy. This move sent ripples across the continent and beyond. The burgeoning relationship between Boko and Traoré is emblematic of a wider, resurgent Pan-African sentiment. This new wave of Pan-Africanism appears more assertive, more critical of external influences, and more focused on tangible economic and political independence. Boko's decision to align with such a figure indicates Botswana's potential entry into this bloc of nations, championing a more independent, Africa-centric path. Both leaders articulate a vision of Africa free from neo-colonial yokes, speaking of resource sovereignty and the need for African nations to control their own destinies. This alliance carries profound implications for regional power dynamics, potentially inspiring other nations to reconsider their own alignments. President Duma Boko's administration aims to reduce U.S. influence. This marks a shift in Botswana's foreign policy. For decades, Gaborone had close ties with Washington. Boko seeks greater autonomy and mutual respect. This isn't a severance, but a demand for equal partnerships. The stance also pushes back against Trump's legacy. Botswana could face risks, but seeks enhanced sovereignty. The pursuit of African unity and self-reliance is not a new phenomenon. The Lagos Plan of Action in 1980 aimed for Africa's self-reliance. Decades later, Agenda 2063 emerged with similar goals. Despite noble intentions, success has been limited. New movements must prioritize concrete steps over rhetoric. Botswana's alignment with the International Solidarity for the Common African (ISTA) marks a significant shift in its Pan-African stance. This move signals a commitment to organized Pan-Africanism and reshaping the continent's political landscape. Botswana's involvement could lend credibility and momentum to ISCA. This alignment must be viewed within the broader context of the resurgent Pan-African movement. ISCA could coordinate policies on resource management, trade, and security. Botswana's role could fundamentally alter African politics. President Duma Boko's leadership in Botswana, characterized by its assertive Pan-Africanism and calls for reduced foreign dependency, has the potential to be a powerful catalyst. It could significantly reignite efforts towards achieving genuine African self-determination across the continent. Self-determination means more than just political independence. It encompasses the freedom for African nations to define their own development paths. Boko's vocal stance, coming from a traditionally stable and respected nation, lends a new weight to these aspirations. A critical dimension of this renewed quest for sovereignty is the control over Africa's vast natural resources. President Boko's declaration, "We can no longer afford to depend on a single commodity," directly addresses this issue. The continent is rich in minerals, oil, gas, and agricultural land, yet historically, the benefits of this wealth have disproportionately flowed outwards. The call for resource sovereignty is a demand for African nations to gain full ownership and control over these assets. Overcoming these obstacles requires not only strong political will, but also technical expertise, robust legal frameworks, and a united front among African states. The dream of resource sovereignty is intrinsically linked to the dream of African unity. One cannot be fully realized without the other. Botswana's pronounced shift under President Duma Boko has not gone unnoticed by the international community. Global media outlets have begun to track these developments with keen interest. Time magazine's inclusion of Boko in its 100 most influential people of 2025 highlighted his seismic election upset and economic diversification plans. However, as his Pan-African alignments and critical stance towards Western influence become more apparent, media portrayals are likely to become more complex. Some may frame it as a bold assertion of sovereignty, while others might express concern over potential instability. The reaction from regional bodies, like the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, will be particularly noteworthy. Direct reactions from United States officials present a nuanced picture. On March 7, 2025, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio met with President Boko in Gaborone. The official readout emphasized a reaffirmation of the strategic partnership between the two nations, focusing on trade and regional security. The ongoing journey toward greater African unity and sovereignty, as championed by leaders like Duma Boko, is a complex and evolving narrative. But with leaders like Traore and Boko stepping forward, Africa is no longer asking, it's reclaiming. This is Insight Africa, where the continent speaks for itself.